Today will be pretty fun. That's quite loud. Let me know in the comments below what you're drinking. We'll do something totally new, something totally different. I've been playing around, so it would be kind of fun. I don't know if you all have seen Chat GPT, but a fascinating little software. I haven't figured out how to do screen share yet, so I'm recording my screen here. I have the video, and then probably after the fact, I will go ahead and then link them up, maybe in a separate video. So, pardon my lack of tech skills. But we're just going to go in and ask Chat GPT a series of Puerh questions. So if you're watching this now, feel free to go ahead and drop some of those questions in the chat below. And I can also share those answers that it gives. But overall, I've been quite astounded by the answers. I threw in a few questions, nothing too crazy, to see what it's like, and then we had a few other folks submit questions. So if you're watching this now, go ahead and drop those questions in the comments below, and we'll get to them. But let me sync this up. So I'm going to snap my fingers, type in go. For me, go. All right. So first we want to ask, what is Chat GPT? Those that you're familiar, it's kind of a unique chat engine. Some people say it's more effective than Google and when you're searching, but it says ChatGPT is a conversational language model developed by OpenAI. It is a state-of-the-art AI model that is trained on a massive amount of text data, allowing it to generate human-like responses to a wide range of topics and questions. So let's see how it does with Puerh. So we can start off with some more basic things. So what is Puerh? And then we'll see the response it generates. Puerh is a type of fermented tea that originates from Yunnan province in China. It is made from Camellia sinensis leaves and is characterized by its strong, earthy flavor and deep red color. So maybe it's saying that it's ripe pour, aged pour. Puerh tea is unique compared to other teas due to its processing method, which involves aging and fermenting the tea leaves over time. This process results in a breakdown of organic matter, which contributes to the tea's distinctive flavor and aroma. Puerh is believed to have a number of health benefits, including improved digestion, lowering cholesterol, and weight loss. However, it is important to note further research is needed to fully understand the effects of Puerh tea on health. Puerh tea is traditionally enjoyed as hot tea, but it can also be served as cold or as a base for tea cocktails. That is bizarre. It is commonly found in specialty tea shops and is available in various forms, including loose leaf, pressed tea cakes, and tea bricks. What's going to be interesting as we ask this chat and AI about Puerh, it's probably skimming the web for English text, right? So blogs, English information, English research, English experiences, tea drinkers here in the West. That's probably what's going to scrape its data. So it's going to be kind of interesting, the responses, because obviously this is a tea deeply rooted in Chinese culture. So if it doesn't have access to those type of information or data pools in China, the answers might be a bit screwed. So now I'm going to say, what is the difference between raw? What is the difference between raw and ripe? Don't worry, we'll get to the more technical questions soon. So what is the difference between raw and ripe puerh? Raw and ripe puerh are two different categories of fermented tea that are produced in Yunnan, China. The main difference between the two lies in their processing methods and the resulting flavor profile. Raw puerh, also known as sheng puerh, is made from freshly picked tea leaves that are immediately dried and then stored for several years to undergo natural fermentation. Yeah. The flavor of raw puerh is typically earthy, woody, and slightly bitter. The aging process can add complexity and depth in flavor over time. Ripe puerh, also known as shou puerh, is made from tea leaves that undergo an accelerated fermentation process, typically for several months to a year. This process results in a darker and more uniform color in a smooth, rich, and mellow flavor that is often described as earthy, musty, or even slightly sweet. So it's interesting, the flavor profiles they're listing. For raw, they're saying earthy, woody, slightly bitter. There's no floral mention, sweetness mention, so obviously the collective experience of that type of tea is being shown here through Chat GPT. Those that are just joining us now, we're just taking questions, throwing them into Chat GPT, which is an OpenAI human-like response engine. And then Puerh, they said uniform color, smooth, rich, and a mellow flavor that is often described as earthy, musty, or even sweet. So musty, definitely not my flavor profile for ripe and raw, but interesting, getting pretty close. Now I'm going to say, what should we say here? Is there a lot of mislabeled or fake puer? Question mark. See what it says. It's thinking. Wow, it is thinking quite a long time. Here we go. Yes, comma. Wow. Still thinking. There has been cases of mislabeled or fake puer in the market, period. Still thinking. Puer tea is a valuable product, and its popularity has led to the production of lower quality, imitation, or fake products. Still thinking. In some cases, tea leaves from other regions or even different plant varieties are sold as puer tea. This is fascinating. In other cases, fake aged teas, still thinking, fake aged teas are made by adding chemicals or artificial flavors to younger teas to make them appear older. These fake teas may not have the same health benefits or flavor profile as authentic puer. This is fascinating because I asked this question last week and I did not get this response. Puer tea, and they can also be harmful to one's health if they contain harmful additives, all of which are true. That's why it's always very important to be very careful what you're consuming, especially an agricultural product from China. It says to avoid fake or mislabeled puer teas, thinking, oh wow, now it's going to give you some techniques on how to purchase and avoid. Fascinating. It is best to purchase from reputable tea merchants or shops that specialize in high quality teas. Man, it is really thinking hard on this question. It is also helpful to look for teas that have been certified by recognized tea organizations and to learn about the different characteristics of authentic puer tea so that you can make an informed decision when purchasing. I love it. Making educated and informed decisions. That's what I'm all about. That was a fascinating response. I almost need to copy that, put that into the Patreon somewhere. So, wow, really cool to see this kind of, this might be better than Google if you're looking at puer tea. So now that we know, okay, it's a buyer's beware market, even this OpenAI chat says it's hard to get good quality teas. Now let's ask, how can I distinguish high quality puer tea from low quality when I purchase puer tea? It's a pretty technical question. Wow, here are some tips to help you distinguish high quality puer tea from low quality when purchasing. It's going to list them out for us. Look for reputable sources. Couldn't agree more there. Then it goes on about that reputable sources. Purchase your puer tea from a reputable source, such as a specialized tea shop or trusted online retailer. Avoid buying from street vendors or unknown sources as they may not be selling authentic tea. Know the origin. Puerh tea is primarily produced in the Yunnan province in China. High-quality puerh teas will often come from specific regions within Yunnan, such as Sichuan-Bana or Lincheng. Wow. Check the packaging. High-quality puerh tea is often packaged in airtight containers, such as vacuum-sealed bags or cans. I'm going to disagree with that. That's a little strange. To protect it from moisture and light. Well, we know that puerh tea needs to be somewhat porous and open so it can continue its post-fermentation process, so I don't agree with point number 3. The packaging should also include detailed information about the tea, such as its origin, raw or ripe, and the date of production. Evaluate the appearance. I agree with that. High-quality puerh leaves should have a uniform color, not be too brittle or broken. Spot on. The tea should also have a strong, earthy aroma. Depending on the tea, obviously those aromas would be different, so probably not all high-quality tea would have a strong, earthy aroma. Number 5, taste the tea. Very logical response. The flavor of high-quality puerh tea should be complex. I agree with that. With notes of earth, sure. Wood, and sometimes even a slight sweetness. Glad I picked that up. The tea should not have an overpowering or bitter flavor and should have a smooth and long-lasting aftertaste. There you go, folks. ChatGPT coming in for the win. I like that. So it should not have an overpowering and bitter flavor and should have a smooth and long-lasting aftertaste. Couldn't agree more with that. By following these tips, you can increase your chances of purchasing high-quality puerh tea. Keep in mind that the cost of puerh tea can vary greatly depending on its quality, and that purchasing from a reputable source may result in higher prices, but is also likely to result in a better tea drinking experience. There you go, folks. Don't even need to be a tea master. Just ask ChatGPT a few questions. So now we got into that, let's ask some more technical questions. How many famous puerh tea mountains are there? Right? Let's see. Yes, there are several famous puerh tea mountains in Yunnan, China, which are known for producing high-quality teas. Here are the few of the most famous ones. Yiwu Mountain, coming in at number 1. Yiwu Mountain is located in Sichuan-Bana region of Yunnan and is known for producing some of the finest raw puerh teas. These teas from Yunnan are known for their delicate flavor with notes of floral and honey. Interesting. A lot of the Yiwus I experience of older, high-quality trees kind of fall in the category of plum. However, I do like that it's more on the sweeter side. It's focusing on that delicate-like aromas and flavors, though Yiwu can be quite a bold tea. Wow, these next 3 mountains are quite confusing. The second one, Manzhuan Mountain, which I don't believe is that well known. Also, very small quantities of that tea and the old trees are actually available. Manzhuan Mountain is located in Lincheng region of Yunnan and is also known for producing high-quality raw and ripe puerh teas. The teas from Manzhuan are known for rich and smooth flavors with notes of earth and wood. Number 3, Bulong Mountain. Bulong is located in Sichuan-Bana region of China, blah, 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 blah. The teas from Bulong are known for their strong and robust flavor with notes in honey and floral. So it's kind of just repeating those same terms with each mountain. Number 4, Laomen Mountain. Laomen Mountain is located in the Sichuan-Bana region of Yunnan, blah, 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 blah. These teas from Laomen are known for their sweet and smooth flavor with notes of honey and floral. So I think it's really getting difficulty with describing the taste profile of high-quality puerh. And it's strange that those are the 4 mountains, Yiwu, Manzhuan, Bulong, Laomen. I would think maybe Jingmai or Nano. Bulong and Yiwu make a lot of sense, but this is also maybe showing you the trends of Western puerh drinkers buying and selling things and writing on blogs, hence giving us these answers, because ChatGPT is scraping the web that's available and then producing these responses. So also there's probably a little picture into the Western tea drinking world that they think they can easily get Manjuan and Laumana Puerh teas. That was my own personal kind of interpretation of all that. Take it with a grain of salt. Here we go. So Yunnan, there are many others that are also known for producing high quality teas. When purchasing Puerh teas, it is important to consider the origin and production area, as well as the processing method and the resulting flavor profile. So let's say, how can you tell the difference of a Puerh tea made from old tea trees and young tea trees? Is there a difference in flavor, price, and quality? Right? Let's see what it says. Yes, there is a difference between Puerh tea made from old tea trees and young tea trees in terms of flavor, price, and quality. Here is a comparison between the two. This should be very fun. Flavor. Puerh tea made from old tea trees, generally considered to have more complex and nuanced flavor profiles than tea made from young tea trees. Couldn't agree more. Old tea trees are believed to produce tea leaves with higher concentrations of tea polyphenols, and aromatic compounds, resulting in a more intense, rich, and smooth flavor. Might disagree with the tea polyphenols on the older tea trees, because those can sometimes upset the stomach. Also depends on the region. So that's a very interesting response. On the other hand, tea from young trees may have milder or more straightforward flavor profiles. So it's very interesting how they describe that. Almost stronger flavor from older tea trees, milder flavor from younger tea trees. I don't agree with that so much, but I do agree with younger tea trees have a more straightforward flavor profile, right? The fact they were saying complex and nuanced flavor profiles from older tea trees, definitely agree with that. So the next one, they bullet point price. Puerh tea made from old tea trees is typically more expensive than tea made from young tea trees due to the higher demand for this type of tea. Old tea trees are considered to be precious resources in the tea growing regions of Yunnan, and the demand for their leaves often exceeds the supply. Great little piece of information there. Quality. While there is no universal agreement of what constitutes high quality Puerh tea, many tea enthusiasts believe that tea made from old tea trees is of higher quality than tea made from young tea trees. This is due to the higher concentrations of tea polyphenols and aromatic compounds in the tea leaves, as well as the slower growth and process of the old tea trees, which is believed to result in a more refined flavor profile. It is important to note the differences in flavor, price, and quality between Puerh tea made from old and young tea trees can vary depending on several factors, including tea processing method, the climate, and the soil conditions of the tea growing region, and the skill and experience of the tea producer. When producing or purchasing Puerh tea, it is best to try several different types of tea from different sources to find the one that meets your individual taste preferences. I love it. This is pretty, it's pretty spot on. There's a few kind of small, minute errors that may not agree with, but I think for the most part, it's pretty good. So let's see if it can say, what is the difference in taste profile of Jingmai Mountain Puerh tea and Yiwu Mountain Puerh tea? And then Is one more famous than the other? Is one better quality than the other? And do either of those mountains have older tea trees from one another? So let's see how that's a lot of particular details. Let's see how it handles that. Okay, so it's going to start out listing Jingmai Mountain and Yiwu are both well known for producing high quality pu'er tea. And the difference in taste profile between teas from two regions can vary depending on processes of processing, age of trees, and the climate and soil conditions, etc. Taste profile, number one. Teas from Jingmai Mountain are known for having a rich, full-bodied flavor with notes of earth, wood, and fruit. Fruit I might agree with. Yiwu Mountain teas, on the other hand, are known for having a more delicate, floral flavor with notes in honey. So I would definitely say Jingmai is more on the delicate flavor side. Yiwu can be a little bit more on the robust. Yiwu more on the plum characteristic. Jingmai is getting more of that floral characteristic. Also, rare occasions of old Jingmai trees, I've noticed when you smell the maocha, sometimes it'll be a black pepper that does not translate it into the flavor profile at all. That's just my own personal experience. But they go on to say, however, these are generalizations and there can be variation in taste within each region based on the specific tea processing method and other factors. Second bullet point, fame. Both Jingmai Mountain and Yiwu Mountain are well known and respected tea regions in Yunnan, China. The reputation of each region can vary depending on specific tea, the production area, and the processing method. Both regions are capable of producing high-quality teas. Quality. Both Jingmai and Yiwu are capable of producing high-quality teas, and the quality of the tea can depend on several factors, including processing, climate, soil, tea growing, blah, 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 blah. So we've heard a lot of that before. Both regions are known for producing teas that are well-balanced, smooth, and flavorful. Age of tea trees. Both Jingmai Mountain and Yiwu Mountain have tea trees of varying ages, with some trees being over 100 years old. The age of the tea tree can influence the flavor and the quality of the tea, with older tea trees typically producing leaves with higher concentration of tea polyphenols and aromatic compounds. Why does it keep going back to the older the tree, the more tea polyphenols? It is true they will have more aromatic compounds because they'll be more rich in nutrition, deeper root structure, point an abundant amount and variety of nutrition. Maybe that's referring to those aromatic compounds. But usually very old trees have less tea polyphenols. So let's dive into that. Let's ask that question. Let's say, do very old pu'er tea trees have less tea polyphenols? Because they have deeper root structures. How does that affect the quality of the tea? I'm going to throw in a bonus question there. What is the oldest living pu'er tea tree and where is it? It also has an inclusion to my last question. Both Jingmai Mountain and Yiwu Mountain produce high-quality pu'er tea with unique flavor profiles and qualities. When choosing between the two regions, it is important to consider the specific tea, the processing, the taste profile of the individual. So, we're going to put in one more last question here around old tea trees have less tea polyphenols because of deeper root structures, and does that affect the quality of the tea, and what is the oldest living pu'er tea tree? Here we go. So this is where I'm diving into the tea polyphenols thing. I was very confused about this. Look at this response. Now it's kind of stepping back. The relationship between the age of a pu'er tea tree and the concentration of tea polyphenols in its leaves is not well understood and requires further research. It is possible that the age of the tea tree and the depth of the root structure could influence the concentration of tea polyphenols in the tea leaves, but there is currently limited evidence to support this. So it's very interesting. Before it always referred to those tea polyphenols. Now it's saying there's not enough evidence to support this. It is well known that the soil, climate, and growing conditions of tea growing regions can have a significant impact on the quality of the tea, and these factors are likely to play a greater role in determining the concentration of tea polyphenols in the leaves than the age of the tea trees. Could not agree more. Because I've noticed this also when you start to think about the regions. There are some regions that are just more strong, rich, bitter, astringent. Some that are more comfortable in your stomach than others. Hence, that lemon tree analogy I used before on why certain famous mountains are more famous, more expensive than others. And that probably is the resulting of the areas around, right? The climate, the conditions, the regions, etc. Sorry, I got a little excited. This is fun. I've never had this kind of unique, in-depth response around Puerh tea with some AI chat thing before. So, fascinating. Now we'll continue to go on. For the oldest living Puerh tea tree, the exact age and the location of the oldest tea tree are not known for certain. However, there are several tea trees in Yunnan, China that are considered to be over 1,000 years old and are revered by the local tea communities. These tea trees are often considered to be national treasures and protected and preserved by local communities. In conclusion, while the relationship between the age of the tea tree and the concentration of tea polyphenols in leaves is not well understood, the quality of Puerh tea is largely determined by factors such as the soil, the climate, the growing conditions, as well as the tea processing method. So I hope this is entertaining to all you. I'm having a lot of fun with this. So let's add some more technical questions that were submitted, which I love these. These are going to be great. From Andrew. What is the ideal humidity level for raw Puerh development? I'm gonna put tea in there just so it really knows what's going on. What is the ideal humidity level for raw Puerh tea development? Oh, the ideal humidity. Oh man. Oh, it's coming out with percentages. The ideal humidity level for the storage of aging raw Puerh tea, also known as sheng puerh, is around 60 to 70% humidity. Is that so? This level of humidity allows for the gradual development of the tea over time, as it helps to prevent the tea from drying out and becoming brittle, which can negatively affect the flavor and the quality of the tea. At the same time, a humidity level that is too high can also be harmful to raw Puerh tea, as it encourages the growth of mold and bacteria, which can negatively affect the flavor and quality. A relative humidity level of 60 to 70% provides a balance between preventing the tea from drying out and promoting the development of the tea's flavor and aroma over time. It is important to store the raw Puerh tea in a controlled environment that is not too hot or too cold, with a relatively stable humidity level, in order to ensure that the tea develops properly over time. It is also important to store the tea in a clean and dry place, away from strong odors or fumes that could affect the flavor of the tea. So now we got all kinds of questions. The next question I'm going to pose is, what is the difference between dry storage and wet storage Puerh? Let's see what it says. What is the difference between wet storage and dry storage for Puerh tea? And is one more favored than the other? And which storage condition results in higher resale prices as it ages? So, what is the difference between wet storage and dry storage for Puerh tea? And is one more favored than the other? And which storage condition results in higher resale prices as it ages? That's a doozy. Here we go. The difference between wet and dry storage for pu'er tea refers to the humidity levels of which the tea is stored. Wet storage typically refers to storage in high humidity environment, while dry storage refers to low humidity environment. Wet storage, oh man, wet storage is commonly flavored in some regions of southern China, particularly in Guangdong or Hong Kong areas, where the humid climates are well suited to store the pu'er tea. Wet storage can result in faster aging process and can produce a more mature fermented flavor in the tea. However, if not done properly, wet storage can also lead to the growth of mold and bacteria, which can negatively affect the quality of the tea. Dry storage, on the other hand, is favored in other regions, particularly northern China and other countries, where the climate is drier. Dry storage can result in slower aging process and mildew, less fermented flavor in the tea. Dry storage is generally considered to be safer method for storing pu'er tea, couldn't agree more, as it reduces the risk of mold or bacteria growth. In terms of resale value, the price of pu'er tea can be influenced by a variety of factors, including the age of the tea, the quality of the tea, and the storage conditions under it was stored. There is no one storage method that is guaranteed to result in a higher resale price, as the market of pu'er tea is highly complex and the preferences of individual buyers can vary widely. Some tea enthusiasts may prefer the mature, fermented flavor of wet stored pu'er, while others may prefer the milder, less fermented flavor of dry storage pu'er. The value of a particular tea will depend on many factors such as age, quality, specific storage conditions under which it was stored. So, hope you all enjoying this. Drop some comments below. We have a few more questions, though. Now I want to say, who invented dry storage for pu'er tea? Okay, and then what is the most famous pu'er tea cake? So there's a lot of them out there. So I'm kind of curious what it will say. Who invented dry storage for pu'er tea? The origin of dry pu'er tea is not well documented and is unclear who exactly invented the method. So that may be true and who exactly invented the method. I think maybe Vesper Chan probably made that method famous in Hong Kong. But it is interesting to see who invented it. I guess that's a difficult question to answer. So, pu'er tea has become increasingly popular in recent years, particularly in regions outside of southern China where the climate is drier. As for the most famous pu'er tea cake, it can be difficult to determine a single most famous tea, as the popularity and reputation of different teas can vary greatly depending on personal preference of different tea drinking communities. However, some of the most well-known regarded pu'er tea cakes include Yunnan Old Tree, Yiwu Mountain, Jingmai Mountain, and Mengku tea cakes. So fascinating that they brought in Yiwu and Jingmai, where before they didn't even list Jingmai on the most famous mountains. So Yiwu, Jingmai, and Mengku, they even have the Chinese characters there. These teas are known for their higher quality and distinctive flavor profiles. They are often highly sought after by tea collectors and enthusiasts. However, specific characteristics and the popularity of each tea can vary greatly depending on factors such as the age of the tea, the processing methods used, and the storage conditions, etc. So I'm going to drop in the chat. Anyone's got some questions? No questions yet. So we have a few more we're going to post. These are from Andrew as well. These are great. Let's put these in here. What criteria do tea professionals use to evaluate the quality of tea? So we've been talking about pu'er tea a lot. I wonder if it's going to put that into consideration or if it's just going to give us the answer to evaluate the quality of tea. It is thinking. It is thinking. It's thinking for a very long time. Really a great question. Here we go. Tea professionals use a variety of criteria to evaluate the quality of a tea, including 1. Flavor profile, the taste and aroma of the tea. Wow, it's really thinking on this question. The taste and aroma of the tea is one of the most important factors in determining the quality. High quality teas are characterized by a well-balanced flavor profile with a smooth, full-bodied taste and a fragrant aroma. Very concise, I like it. Number 2, leaf appearance. The appearance of the tea leaves can also provide important clues about its quality. I wonder why it's taking so long. Maybe it's busy or it's really thinking. High quality teas will have well-formed whole leaves that are uniform in size and shape, and that are free from blemishes and damage. Love it. Leaf aroma. The aroma of the dry tea leaves can provide important information about its quality. And that's great because I've used the technique of, heat up the teapot or gaiwan, put the dry leaves in and smell it. So that's a great way to smell dry leaves as well. The aroma of the dry leaves can provide important information about its quality as well as the processing methods used to produce the tea. High quality teas will have a pleasant, fragrant aroma that is characteristic of the specific tea variety. Leaf texture. The texture of the tea leaves is another important factor in determining its quality. High quality teas will have leaves that are tender and pliable. Oh man, so good, so good. With a uniform consistency and smooth, silky texture. Number 5, flavor consistency. A tea's flavor profile should be consistent from cup to cup, regardless of the brewing method or the time of year. That's fascinating. It's very interesting. We're going to ask a few more technical questions here, y'all. So probably another 5 minutes or so. So drop them in the comments if you have them. Regardless of the time of year, high quality teas will have a consistent flavor profile that is the same regardless of how the tea is brewed or stored. Flavor longevity. High quality teas should retain their flavor and aroma for a long period of time, even after multiple infusions. That's an intense stress test for some teas. A tea's flavor longevity is an important indicator of its overall quality. Those are great points. Number 7, price. Throw that one in there. Although not always a reliable indicator, which that's fair enough, the price of a tea can be an important factor to consider when evaluating its quality. Higher quality teas are often more expensive than low quality teas. Man, it is really thinking about these points. And tea professionals will take the price of a tea into consideration when evaluating its overall quality. Oh, 7, that's it. So the 7 are flavor profile, leaf appearance, leaf aroma, leaf texture, flavor consistency, flavor longevity, and price. Alrighty, let's get a few more questions in here. Here we go. So we're going to combine 2 questions here. This is fun. Hope you all having fun. I'm having fun. What makes a Puerh tea valuable? What will be the price of Puerh in 10 years? Here we go. The fast to respond here. Can you overage Puerh tea or ripe? I love it. That question's going in there next. A number of factors contribute to the value of Puerh tea, including, well, this is like listing them out like so fast. Age. Puerh tea that is older is often considered more valuable, as the aging process can impart unique flavor and aroma characteristics. Puerh teas are several decades old can fetch high prices, particularly if they are well preserved and have been stored under ideal conditions. I love how focused on the ideal conditions. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's good. It's got to be stored well. So one was age. Number two is origin. The location where the tea was grown can also affect its value. Teas grown in a well-known tea-producing regions, such as Yunnan province in China, are often considered more valuable than teas grown elsewhere. The tea tree age. Puerh tea made from older tea trees are often considered more valuable than the teas made from younger trees, as the tea leaves from older tea trees are said to be more complex flavor profile. Processing. The way a Puerh tea is processed can also affect the value. For example, Puerh teas that are hand processed using traditional methods are often considered more valuable than the teas that are produced using modern automated methods. It is difficult to predict the price of Puerh tea in 10 years, as the market for tea is subject to various factors such as supply and demand, economic conditions, and geopolitical events. However, it is possible that the value of Puerh tea could increase over time, particularly as the demand for high-quality aged teas continue to grow. It is important to keep in mind, while these factors can affect the value of Puerh tea, there is not a guarantee a high price. When buying Puerh tea, it is important to consider the reputation of the seller and verify the authenticity of the tea before making a purchase. So good. So we got another question from David. Can you overage raw or ripe Puerh? So I'm going to say first, can you overage Puerh tea? And I'm going to say, does it matter if it's ripe or raw? If it's ripe or raw? Let's see what it says. It is possible to overage Puerh tea, though it is important to keep in mind that different types of Puerh tea will age differently. The aging process for raw Puerh is more gradual and slower compared to ripe Puerh, which undergoes a more accelerated aging process. Overaging Puerh tea can result in the loss of flavor and aroma and declining quality. The tea may become musty or develop a stale, flat taste. With raw Puerh, overaging can result in the tea becoming too earthy or woody, while with ripe, the tea can become overly fermented or develop off flavors. This is tough to digest all this. I think I'll save my thoughts till the end. When aging Puerh tea, it is important to monitor the tea regularly and taste it to ensure it is aging well. Couldn't agree more with that. The ideal aging time will vary depending on the type of Puerh tea, storage conditions, and personal taste preferences. It is also important to store the tea in a cool, dry place to prevent excessive oxidation and to protect it from moisture, which can result in mold growth. So now that we've digested that, I think it would actually be very difficult to overage Puerh tea because you have to look at what is actually available. There aren't really that many Puerh teas that are 30, 40 years old, and if they are, they're extremely expensive and usually referred to as medicine. And it is true. There's definitely a plateau where you start to lose the personality of the taste profile and like the region. But then it starts to develop a medicine-like aroma and get really rich and dark and really comfortable in the stomach. But it's still very valuable and very sought after. The only reason you can really mess up with aging is if you store it in a bad environment. It becomes moldy, or mildew develops, or it was too dry, or the quality of the tea to begin with was not good. So that's my own personal interpretation and answer to that question. We're going to answer 2 more questions and then we'll wrap this up. This has been quite a lot of fun. Why is there a demand for teas from some famous mountains more than others? So from Andrew. The demand for teas from certain mountains can be driven by a variety of factors, including reputation, number 1, scarcity, number 2. Let's go into what it says about reputation. Some tea-growing regions are known for producing high-quality teas with distinctive flavor profiles and have built a strong reputation over time. Teas from these regions are often in high demand among tea enthusiasts who are willing to pay a premium for the opportunity to taste teas from famous mountains. That is a beautiful interpretation. I love that. I should post that somewhere. Maybe I'll post some of these, my favorite responses, on Patreon. Number 2 is scarcity. Number 3 is history and culture. Number 4 is flavor profile. So let's go into scarcity. The supply of tea from certain famous mountains can be limited, which can drive up the demand and prices. For example, some famous tea growing regions may only produce a limited amount of tea each year, which can result in scarcity and high prices. History and culture. Some famous tea growing regions have a rich history and cultural significance. Laobanzang might be one of them. It didn't say that one. I'm just thinking that. And their teas are considered to be an important part of their cultural heritage. This can increase the demand for teas from these regions and make them more valuable. Flavor profile. The flavor profiles of teas from different famous mountains can vary widely, and some regions may be known for producing teas with unique and highly praised flavor notes. For example, Yiwu Mountain in China is known for producing tea with a sweet honey-like flavor profile, while teas from other regions may have more astringent, bitter flavor. I gotta throw that in there. It is important to keep in mind that the demand for teas for certain famous mountains can fluctuate over time and may be subject to various market factors, such as supply and demand, economic conditions, geopolitical events. However, the reputation and cultural significance of some famous tea-growing regions can make their teas a valuable investment for tea enthusiasts and collectors. My goodness, what a mouthful. This ChatGPT really has some unique answers. I'll tell you that. Well, let's throw someone else in there. Let's throw a rinse in the system. How can I determine, well, how can I know how to purchase an authentic Yixing teapot from one of the original Yixing factories? And does the time period the teapot was produced an important factor to consider? And is there still a readily available supply of Yixing clay? Oh man, this is going to be fun. Couldn't get more controversial than that, right? So I gotta make sure I spell Yixing right. Yixing teapot from one of the original Chinese Yixing factories. Here we go. So the in total, what this says: how can I know how to purchase an authentic Yixing teapot from one of the original Chinese factories? And does the time period the teapot was produced an important factor to consider? And is there still a readily available available supply of Yixing clay. Here we go. When purchasing an authentic Yixing teapot, it is important to consider the following factors. Factory authenticity. Look for teapot. Oh man, there's listed factories. Look for teapots that are made by one of the original Yixing tea factories in China. These factories have a long history of producing high-quality teapots and are known for their expertise and craftsmanship. Some of the most well-known Yixing teapot factories include Jisha Factory, Zhaohou Factory, and Huanglongshan Factory. Material quality. Ensure that the teapot is made from authentic Yixing clay. Yixing clay is a type of purple clay that is only found in the Yixing region of China. It is also known for its ability to retain heat and improve the flavor of the tea. You can check the quality of the clay by looking for a smooth, dense texture and a uniform purplish red color. Craftsmanship. Look for teapots that are well made and have a high level of craftsmanship. Pay attention to the details such as the thickness of the walls, the shape of the spout, and the overall design of the teapot. Teapots that are well made and have a high level of craftsmanship are more likely to be authentic and higher quality. That I probably will disagree with. I think they're made of higher quality, but what about the clay quality? Anyway, that's my own words. Let's go back to this. Time period. The time period in which a Yixing teapot was produced can be an important factor to consider, as older teapots can be more valuable and collectible. However, it is important to note that the value of the teapot also depends on its rarity, condition, and design, so it's not always the case that older teapots are more valuable. Supply of Yixing clay. Yixing clay is a rare and valuable resource, and the supply of high-quality clay has diminished over time. However, there is a still readily available supply of Yixing clay, and many original Yixing factories continue to produce high-quality teapots using this clay. That could be debatable, so I'm going to do a follow-up question on that. When purchasing a Yixing teapot, it's also a good idea to do your research and purchase from a reputable vendor, seller, to ensure that they are high-quality, authentic teapots. Additionally, you can consider seeking out an expert opinion from tea professionals or tea collectors, as they may be able to provide guidance and advice on how to identify authentic Yixing teapots. So first I'm going to say, what are the different types of Yixing clay, and are some more rare than others? Are any of the Yixing clays extinct? Here we go. Just gotta think about this. Yixing clay, also known as purple tea, is a type of clay found in the region of Yixing in Jiangsu province. Yixing teapots are made from the clay and are prized for their ability to retain heat and enhance the flavor of the tea. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, develop a unique patina over time. There are several types of Yixing clay, with its own unique color, texture, mineral content. The most commonly used types of Yixing include Zhisha. This is most formally referred to as Yixing clay, is a reddish-brown color. Huainan clay, a black clay with a smooth texture and a high iron content. Duan clay, a yellowish brown, maybe Duani is what they're, yeah, because they're having the English word clay and then Duan, so Duani. A yellowish brown clay that is prized for its ability to produce clear, bright tea liquid. This would be, man, it's so hard to, without the Chinese characters. Shi, Xiao Ni. A light colored clay that is prized for its delicate texture and is often used to make teapots for lighter teas such as green tea. The availability of Yixing clay has remained relatively constant, though some types of clay can be more difficult to find than others. When purchasing an authentic teapot, it is important to referring to an expert, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to say certain yeasting clays are no longer available to mine as a natural resource, as they have all been mined. And certain, well, I'll say that. Is this true? Is this true? So I'm just saying, I've heard that yeasting clays are no longer available to mine as a natural resource, and they have all been mined. Is this true? It is possible that some specific types of yeasting clay may no longer be available for mining, as the resource for the clays are limited. However, it is also possible that new sources of yeasting clay can be discovered, and that new types of yeasting clay be developed through the mixing of different clays. Well, isn't that an anti-controversial response? Regardless, yeasting teapots are widely produced and sought after, and new yeasting teapots continue to be made all the time. It's important to consider experts. Well, y'all, that's it. ChatGPT, everything Puerh tea, little bonus question about yeasting clay. Hope you're enjoying it. That's what today was about. I'm gonna see if I can reproduce this video with my screen that I shared, and then have my video on it. And if I can do that, awesome. But until then, thank you all for your support. Hope you enjoyed this live stream. Looking forward to seeing you all on some of my future videos. And until then, we'll see you all next time.